What's the deal, everybody? It's your boy Shane G. We are back with another episode of Entreprenegroes right here on the Ethos Media Network, where we bring to you, your local and not so local, sometimes national black entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? We're here to show y'all, sometimes all you got to do is take that first step. A lot of times people don't necessarily know how to go about doing certain things. They have great ideas, but they don't know how to execute, or they might be scared to execute, scared of losses, things of that nature. So we're here to discuss all of that. And I have a very special guest. It's a man I've known for a long time. It's a man my father's known for a long time. And he's here to share some game with y'all. So today we have Ken Blanks Harrell. How you doing, sir?
How you doing, Shane? What's the good word, brother?
Hey man, you got the good word today, you know what I mean? And I need you to share it with the audience, so everything's good on my end though, man. Um, but just first things first, what's the name of your company and what business or industry are you in?
The name of the company is the Bullish Institute of Financial Literacy, and we're headquartered in Detroit, Michigan, but reach globally. Our business is education. We're in the education business. We help overlooked and underserved communities to tap into the gift of financial literacy. So everything from saving money, earning money, investing money, um, donating money, any protecting money, leaving money behind as a legacy, anything and all things related to being more financially fit.
That's good, man, and that's definitely something that we need because just quick side story. One of the jobs that I had out here, I worked at a bank, and when I worked at the bank, learning about certificates of deposit, learning about trust accounts, things like that, it kind of blew my mind that people can go broke when information like that, or not even information, but things like that exist to where it's like your money can literally pay you money every month if you wanted to, or it can build on itself and earn even more in the long run. Like when I learned all of these tricks, it was like, wow. But I was 20 something when I learned all of that. I didn't even learn that stuff in college. I didn't learn it in high school, things like that. So, why did you take it upon yourself to want to be one of the ones to teach the community these things?
It's a great question. I think it was just more of me feeling like it was an obligation. I feel like someone left the door open for me. Like I didn't think up Wall Street, right? I'm not completely self-taught in the process. I've had mentors along the way who paved the way to make it possible for me to be successful and find success in financial literacy. So investing in stocks, mutual funds, index funds, cryptocurrencies, investing in real estate, investing in small businesses. I've been blessed along my path to come across a lot of people who, open the doors for me. So I've thought, it would be selfish of me to shut the door behind myself. I need to leave it open for others. So that was just kind of me feeling like you owe that to the game. I at least owed the game that to teach the game. So
That's dope. That's dope. So, now are these things that you learned early? And, would you say that you kind of were focused on these things when other people maybe were focused elsewhere? You know what I mean? Like, or is this something that is more recent that you're like, oh, I need to teach people when they're young. So that way, by the time, they become 40, 50, 60 years old, they're in a much better place than I'm going to be when I'm 60. You know what I mean?
right, right. Well, I got exposed to entrepreneurship at a young age. I saw a lot of friends, family of friends, and including my own family members having some kind of grind or having some kind of hustle. Some of them had both. They had a grustle, but whatever it
Hmm.
is, it was doing more than just working a traditional 9 to 5 job. These were things that they would do above and beyond that, whether it's earlier or on the nights and weekends. And so I was always exposed to that. And I remember being, man, I could have been probably in fifth grade or something like that. I used to go to the big, whatever it was back in the day, but it was like the big wholesale store where you can get like candy and chips in bulk and stuff like that. And I used to go to school and flip it. I had an affinity for making money and I thought that was a way of never running out. You can always have something going on, so you just never went without nothing. I didn't think it was smart to not have no money. Friends don't let friends drive broke, right? So I think that that was instilled in me at a young age to always keep something going on.
Hmm.
And when I got to college, right before college, actually, my senior year of high school, our uh, physics teacher exposed me to Wall Street. We had an assignment in one of my classes that in econ, my physics teacher introduced me to Wall Street, but the economics teacher did a project on Wall Street, and we
Mm,
would have to
okay.
track stocks on like a weekly basis. We track stocks on like a weekly basis for maybe a semester. And one of the stocks I tracked was Kmart. I don't even know if they're still publicly traded today, but when I remember back then, it like grew, and then I saw how money could turn into money,
Mm,
and wound up getting with a group of the students, and we started an investment club that summer, and we started pooling our money and investing for the future. And
okay.
so I was exposed to these students through a program called Junior Achievement, which is still got a good big footprint out today to help young people learn a variety of different skill sets that you don't always get inside of the classroom.
Yeah.
So some of us, one of our projects was investing, and we had an investment group, and we picked a basket of stocks, and we started investing them in the long term. And so that was just another like pit stop in my journey of financial literacy, specifically starting in the stock market. But when I got to college in my freshman year, we had a class and they had us all subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. This is my freshman year. I never read the Wall Street Journal in my life, or I heard of it vaguely here and there, but not like on purpose growing up in inner city Detroit.
Right, right. It's just
Yeah,
something that they
so
might speak about on the news here and there when your mom watching the news. Like in the
something
Wall
like
Street
that.
Journal, they say such and such, and you like, all right,
Right.
whatever. Like
Exactly. It's just like it falls right into the background.
I'm going to
And
go
I'm
hoop. I don't care about that. Like,
exactly. So I mean, it's a lot of times things that we're not exposed to is a big issue. And I think that we expose our youth, expose our people to the right things, we can be very successful. And we've proven time and time again through our history, whether it's the sciences, whether it's literature, whether it's the arts, whether it's athletics, whatever you put in front of us, we can learn it, and not just learn it, we can dominate in those spaces. We haven't had that exposure to Wall Street and real estate and things like that that heavily in our communities. So in college, I got more exposure to the Wall Street through like the Wall Street Journal. I was a banking and finance major. I took my first when I first started, I wanted to be some of everything. So I was a banking and finance major as
hmm
well as a computer science major. I
okay.
wound up graduating with computer science. I think around junior year, I dropped out of the triple major thing and went down to a double major, which was computer science and business and finance. But banking and finance was my foundation, and it really was eye opening to see how money really works. And I got some mentorship in college, and I started investing in stocks. I bought my first stocks when I was in college, and that was part of how I wound up paying off student loans, was from making money in the stock market. So for me, because I went to college when I was 17 years old to Northwood University in Midland, Michigan, the stock market would kind of set me on a path of realizing there's other ways of making money above and beyond working a job. You can take the money you make from your job, save it, but also put that money to work. Sometimes a lot of people put their money to waste, whether it's some of us can just open up our refrigerator. You might see too many styrofoam containers. So one of the ways you might be wasting money might be too much takeout food. Everybody has habits or things that we can fine tune to find what I like to call our missing money that we could put to the side, earmark it for the side for one or two things. One, everybody needs an emergency fund because life happens. And in case life happens, you should have a pool of money set to the side just to take care of those, um, incidental things that may just happen in life. Murphy's Law. It does happen.
Right.
So it's important to have some money put to the side for that so it doesn't disrupt the flow of everything else you got going on. But above and beyond above and beyond having the emergency fund, you want to have money that you can use to invest. So money that you can put into things like stocks or small business or real estate. And so I learned how to put that money to the side, and over time it started to work out for me. And I got to a point where I just started to teach some of my friends and family members what I was doing, because people kind of look over my shoulder like, "What you over there doing, man? You always into those stocks, or you always watching those stock shows." So most of my boys played college sports or semi-professional sports or professional sports. I didn't. I was the run of the crew, so I was the nerd out the mix, and I like to watch stuff like CNBC and MSNBC and all the shows with the stock market tickers running across the bottom. Those are the numbers I knew. I didn't know who had how many yards or who scored the most touchdowns, or I didn't know none of that, but I knew about Wall Street.
Okay. All right. Well, you kind of answered two of the questions that I was going to ask you, so I was going to ask, when did you decide to go into business for yourself versus just working a regular job? But you kind of answered that. And then what was the moment you felt like what you were doing was working? And you sort of answered that too, when other people started asking you, what are you doing? You know what I
Well,
mean? Like, but what else? Like, I
that
guess, like,
I
add
would
on to
say
that. Like,
saying Yeah, I would say with that wasn't my aha moment. That was like the moment that inspired me to do it. I
okay.
was not successful when I started at all. That was my aha moment to say, okay, people asking me what I'm doing, they looking over my shoulders and they were encouraging me like, man, you should teach this. You should teach a class or show people how to do what you was doing. I was really modest with it, like, well, I ain't killing the game. I ain't doing it that big. I don't need to be calling myself out here teaching no classes to the public or nothing. But real friends that give you confidence.
True.
And so they were really being encouraging of me to, you should do that though. Like, you really got a gift to teach people and you should do that. And I never really thought about doing that, but through the encouragement and having that support system where I can use friends and families in my inner circle like as a sounding board, like I can, put together a PowerPoint and some, let me show you this. What do you think? How does this sound? If I put it together like this, does this sound like a decent class? Did I teach them enough? Is this information overload? So I was able to get a lot of feedback and critique from people that I cared about that didn't make me feel like I was being foolish for pursuing this endeavor. And so as a result of that, I actually started teaching classes in the basement of the Northwest Activity Center in Detroit back in 2016 when we started. So it's been quite a bit of time doing that, but it it was really a blessing to be able to just help me to get over some things I think was holding me back. Like most people, like a fear of public speaking. Some
Okay.
people say the fear of public speaking is bigger than the fear of death for some people, and for a lot of people, quite frankly. And I'm like, I don't know if I should be just calling myself going up in front of just whoever in the city, pull up to the local community center and teach. Like I just never felt that confident and qualified to do that. But over time, that confidence settled in, and I was over the butterflies in the stomach, and I got used to this is who I am, because
You
I always,
accepted it.
yeah, I accepted it. I
Hmm.
think I've always heard in my backdrop people say, I think teachers may have said this when I was in school, like, um, if you really want to learn a subject, you need to teach it
Mm,
because it
that
kind of
makes
holds
sense.
you accountable.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. It's just like, in my job, I do quality coaching. If you ever call customer service and they say this call might be monitored for quality assurance, I'm quality assurance. So
Got you.
I have to be able to do the job also. So I got to be able to take those same calls and answer those same questions that the customers might have and follow the same processes, because how am I going to hold somebody else accountable if I don't know what I'm doing? So it's the same thing. So,
Facts.
so I got you. I got you. Um, so with all successes come L's. So what was your biggest L, loss or lesson, however you want to interpret it? And how did you bounce back from it?
Well, I think it was interesting because you you sometimes have the high point before you fall down, or sometimes you have the your breakthrough after your breakdown. You can name it and say it a lot of different ways. People say you either coming out of a storm, going into a storm, or you already in the storm.
Hmm.
And I felt for us, one of my bigger successes from when we started in the basement of the Northwest Activity Center, just to take the conversation back a half second, um, I found myself traveling around the country because of this, like being, booked on flights and flown out to teach, where people are paying for flights, hotel rooms, per diems, a rental car, and an honorarium to come speak at different events in front of different crowds. So I felt that that was a point of, okay, this thing has some legs on it, and we can move. And I was getting more bookings around the country, but then this thing called pandemic happened. Whether they call it pandemic or plandemic, this thing happened. They shut the world down. And so for me, that actually led to what I felt was my biggest L, because we were having a lot of success and momentum leading up into that point. But then one of the things they shut down was travel immediately. So
Hmm.
I had bookings that were canceled due to the COVID restrictions, and for like 2 years, right, or 3 years, people didn't want to come outside, didn't wasn't really doing a lot of in-person type stuff. So through that L, that kind of killed a lot of buzz, because we were an in-person situation. People were coming to see me face to face. I was doing community centers. I was getting
I was gonna
booked.
say around that time you guys had to shift virtual because I remember, shout out to my
Mhm.
pops. He was sending me a lot of the stuff that you guys were doing virtually at that point. So did
Yep.
that kind of mitigate, losing some of the live appearances, or how did that work out when you kind of switched to doing your workshops virtual?
That's a great question. It was a hard pivot, because a lot of the business and the branding was really me. So it's kind of like an artist, if you will. People they make artists make their money from people buying tickets to their shows,
Hmm.
right? That's where they get their money, show money. And I was booking live events, so I was getting paid to do live speaking to get events. So pivoting to using like the Zooms or the streaming services, it was different. You don't get everything from the computer, because I was kind of had an old school approach. Like, I like to do handouts and have people do activities, and break out into teams, and you guys are getting the teams of two, meet the neighbor next to you. So I was
Right, you be
really,
passing out folders at your joints,
yeah.
that with pamphlets and information, the whole thing. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So it was really a hands-on, more of an in-person experience. You come into the community center, we got coffee waiting on you, juices, pastries. Just, it was a real experience where you can really break bread. So networking was really a part of what we tried to deliver, because it was a vibe. You coming out
right,
to an event where people that are all like-minded, that want to do things savvy with their money, and things like save and invest for the future, have good credit, own real estate, own businesses. So you can't replace face-to-face human interaction. Nothing's going to beat that.
right,
But
right.
we had to do the best thing we could do. Like a lot of people, you saw, remember through pandemic, was drive-by graduations, it was drive-by marriages, drive-by some of everything, retirement
Hmm.
parties. Yeah, so it's just a real odd time in the world. So we did the best we can do to keep the flow flowing. We've been teaching courses on second Saturdays of the month at 11 a.m. for the last 8 years straight. So we got onto the streaming wave like everybody else had to. So we started doing virtual events and meeting more people that we probably wouldn't have met locally, because we had a local reach with the community center, where when things had got shut down, you started relying more on like social media and digital connections, and it'd be people hopping in our classes from all over the country. It's been people from all over the world that have tapped in since we had to go digital. So that loss did turn into some lessons, and me and my crew, none of us are spring chickens, so it forced us all to get with the times, because you're either high tech, low tech, or no tech. You can't live in this
Yeah,
world being no tech.
that's true. That's very true. But y'all definitely adapted though, and you were already on that wave because um you were one of the earlier people who was savvy on the internet with like TV 313 and things like that. I've told all the stories on, other shows on here that, all the people I've met when I was doing my internship and all of that kind of stuff. Well, this is the guy who I was working for during the internship, you know what I mean? Um, so you've always been net savvy, you know what I mean? So, I had all the faith in the world that was going to work out for you. So,
It took for the world to stop though for me to
hey, sometimes that's how
to,
it happens, though,
to
right?
level up.
Sometimes the universe will make a shift and force you to get with it. So
True.
I hear that. Um, so who and or what is needed to make your business successful?
Having a strong team, it's all about having a strong team. I think that if you want to build anything great, it needs to be bigger than you. So the workload can't possibly be something that you can handle on your own if you're going to have a great business. It needs to be some crazy goal that's bigger than yourself that needs the assistance and energies and efforts of other people, and creating that synergy to be successful. So your father happens to be one of those people on my team that I rely on, who's invaluable, as well as Miss Barbara Jones. We're kind of like the triangle offense foundation of the company. We have several other people who are very key and influential that help us along the way. But you got to start with a core team. And I throw out the number 3 on there because I think about sports. And Phil Jackson was one of the most prolific coaches in NBA basketball history, won 11 championships with the triangle offense. So I think that that's proven.
Definitely. Definitely. And I heard a long time ago also that, I forgot who told me this, but a triangle is the strongest foundation that you can build something on because you can't push it in any direction. In
Mm,
any direction that you start with a triangle base, like it's gonna stay flat. So anything you build on top of it's already gonna be solid. Um, so the last thing I'd like for you to inform the people on, you already kind of mentioned it, but one more time, mention it again. Um, where can they participate in these classes? Where can they find you? On social media, on Facebook. I know you give a lot of game on Facebook. Um, where can they find you? Where can they join these classes? Where can they come in person? Where can they do it virtually?
all right, great questions. First, if you want to get in touch with me, I'm on all social media platforms. It's Ask Blanks, ASK, like you're asking a question, BLANKS, like you're filling in the blanks. Ask Blanks, everything at sign Ask Blanks, and you can get at me. As far as classes are at bullishinstitute.com. You'll see the button right there that says RSVP for class. All classes are, you can RSVP on Eventbrite. And the next class is going to be on Saturday, December the 9th at 11 a.m. Saturday, December 9th, 11 a.m. And you tap in, catch us live. We will be doing our final live webinar of the calendar year. And so you can look back as we're going to be publishing our 2024 course calendar very soon.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Um, I just want to thank you very much for your time. You know what I mean? For sharing that information. Like I said, it's very important for multiple reasons. One, I like doing these interviews because it shows that we can be our own bosses outside of entertainment or sports or things like that. Like we can really master business and be at the top of that field also. So I like to showcase Black entrepreneurs for that reason. It shows us in a position of leadership that's not, on some street shit or on, you know what I mean? Like it shows us in a positive position of leadership. And that's very important as well. So just for the image for people, young people especially, to see Black business owners, I feel like that's very important. And then two, we do need the education at an earlier stage, and people like you are helping bring that to the forefront, and we need more of that. So like I said, thank you very much, and thank you
Very
for your
well.
time, man.
Yes,
um
sir.
Outside of that, this is Shane G once again. This is Entreprenegroes right here on the Ethos Media Network. Once again, make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe for all the latest content, and I'll be back at you next week. Peace.